They slap you in the face with the truth.
Standing under a glass ceiling right now. Although we weren't able to shatter that highest, hardest glass ceiling this time, thanks to you, it's got about 18 million cracks in it. We just put the biggest crack in that glass ceiling yet. Thanks to you and to everyone who's fought so hard to make this possible. I know we have still not shattered that highest and hardest glass ceiling, but someday someone will, and hopefully sooner than we might think right now.
Dominic began. A series of 31 missiles were shot straight up into the sky to test how high humans can actually reach. They quickly figured out not far at all.
It seems that whenever they were shooting these missiles up into the sky, they were actually interacting with different layers of this plasma field or this electromagnetic phenomena, and it seems to have fluid-like properties as it actually hits a certain portion of this force field, if you will. It seems to have fluid-like properties as it actually hits a certain portion of this force field, if you will. It seems to have fluid-like properties as it actually hits a certain portion of this force field, if you will. It begins to disperse and seek equilibrium based on the impedance of the electromagnetic layers.
Why is it when we review this footage that these things are exploding? It looks like they're hitting a barrier.
Testing the strength of the firmament, and they weren't able to penetrate it.
What's going on there? What is this? In my opinion, I think that they were trying to find a way to possibly get out.
All right, Shalom. I want to give all the praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who taught me this truth, and double salutations to all you Akim out there laboring, the house of David, the elect, that's pushing his word with all truth, righteousness, and sincerity. Shalom to you, brothers, and shalom to the elect. I'm back with another quick lesson through the Holy Spirit, the Rakakwadash. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 33 and verse 6, and it reads, "By the word of the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushua, were the heavens made, and all the host of them by the breath of his mouth." Verse 7, "He gathereth the waters of the sea together as an heap. He layeth up the depth in storehouses." The point, Psalm 33 verse 8, it says, "Let all the earth fear the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Let all the inhabitants of the world stand in awe of him." So you have to stand in awe of the Lord concerning his power. All right. And this is a beautiful example that the Lord has given us on this Operation Fishbowl, also known as Starfish, of the boundaries that the Lord has set up on the earth in which Esau cannot pass. This is Job 14 and 5. It says, "Seeing his days are determined, the number of his months are with thee. Thou hast appointed his bounds that he cannot pass." You see that? So as we saw in the video, all right, they talked about shooting, 31 rockets to the highest point in the atmosphere. And it got to a point where it hit a barrier, they said. They said it was a force field with fluid-like properties, and that's the firmament, okay? This is Genesis 1 and 6. It says, "And Yahweh Shem Yahushua said, Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters." Verse 7, "And Yahweh Shem Yahushua made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament, and it was so." All right. So Esau knows this. Okay. He knows that, okay, this is a boundary that he cannot penetrate. He can't pass this because the Lord set up the waters to divide the waters. So you have pretty much the ozone layer, which, you know, divides the Earth from outer space. All right, this is a, as they said, it was likened unto a force field, man. Okay, so Esau, this shows us that Esau hasn't left the Earth, he hasn't gone to the moon, he hasn't went to Mars. All right, he hasn't really even went into space, because he's really only gone into low orbit, which we'll play that video a little later. Okay, so this devil is a straight liar, man. All right, and that's why when I saw the video, you know, like I said, just analyzing the Operation Fishbowl in the spirit, all right, it shows us that, look, these boundaries are real. Okay, even in the ocean, there's only a certain level that Esau can reach before that the pressure from the ocean crushes the vessel. You see, so these are all the boundaries that the Lord has set up, right? Now I want to hit this word for firmament, right? Just to make the point, because this is powerful stuff, man. All right, for this word firmament, it goes into the point here, definition 2. It says firmament, it says of a vault of heaven supporting waters above, considered by Hebrews as a solid and supporting waters from above. All right, so Esau, he showed you that in this commercial that he put out a couple years ago. All right, these are those solid waters from above that Esau can't penetrate. That's the barrier, as they said, that the force field that had fluid-like properties, man. Esau knows this. So again, these are the supporting waters, all right, that firmament, that dome, if you will, right? I want to get that in 2 Peter as well. This is 2 Peter 3, and straight to the point. This is 2 Peter 3 and verse 3, and it reads, it says, knowing this first, that there should come in the last days scoffers walking after their own lust, which we see now. Okay, at the end of this thing, we see a high level of incredulity amongst our people concerning the scriptures, the prophecies, you know, the Lord's prophets. Okay, it says in saying, where is the promise of his coming? For since the fathers fell asleep, all things continue as they were from the beginning of creation. The point. Verse 5, for this they willingly are ignorant of, that by the word of the Most High the heavens were of old, and the earth standing out of the water in the water. All right, again speaking about the and how the Lord, you know, divided the earth from the heavens. All right, when he set up the firmament or whatnot. Okay, it says verse 6, it says, whereby the world then that was being overflowed with water perished. All right, so going back into the time of Noah. All right, what did the Lord do? He opened up the heavens. Okay, remember, we just read that definition from firmament. All right, it says firmament of a vault of heaven supporting waters above, the supporting waters above the earth, right? Considered by Hebrews as a solid and supporting waters above. So what happened is the Lord, he opened up the heavens. All right, and he allowed the waters from the heavens to pour down on the earth, to flood the earth. All right, this is Genesis 7 and 11, and it reads, it says, in the 600th year of Noah's life, in the 2nd month, in the 17th day of the month, the same day were all the fountains of the great deep broken up, and the windows of heaven were open. You see that? So the Lord opened up those windows of the heaven and allowed those waters to come in. All right, from the skies, from the heavens. It says, and the rain was upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights, and this is the flood. This is how the Lord flooded the earth with those waters. All right, by opening the windows upon heaven. All right, so again, Esau, he knows. Let me go back to that. All right, Esau, he knows what it is. Okay, the waters above the firmament. Okay, you know, the sky, the ozone layer, and then you have the waters above that the boundary. Okay. Here we go. So yeah, they know. You know, this was a bad little commercial that came out some years ago, right? But let's finish it out with the video clip that I posted before from NASA, showing you that they never left the Earth. Let's go to that.
So in this video, I'm only going to address a single discrepancy that NASA themselves have admitted to on more than one occasion, and will prove without a doubt that we have never even left low Earth orbit, let alone landed a man on the moon. But first, let's go back to school and get a refresher course on the different atmospheres surrounding the Earth. Now, the following information is critical to proving my point, so please bear with me. First, we have the troposphere. This is where all of our weather occurs, and it is the lowest layer of the Earth's atmosphere. It starts at the Earth's surface and extends up to a height of 4 to 10 miles. Next, we have the stratosphere, which extends to about 35 miles above the Earth's surface. This is where our ozone layer resides and protects us from those dangerous UV rays. It is also the layer where aircraft travels, as it is free from weather disturbances. Now we go up to the mesosphere, where most meteors burn up on entry. The mesosphere stretches up to 50 miles above the Earth's surface. Next, we have the thermosphere, and this layer extends up to 400 miles from the Earth's surface, and the air here is very thin. Also, temperatures here start to get really hot, ranging anywhere from 200 to 500 degrees Celsius and 500 to 2000 degrees Celsius in the upper region. And last but not least is the exosphere. The temperature in the exosphere can vary from 0 to 1700 degrees Celsius. The exosphere is the outermost layer of the Earth's atmosphere and is around 6,200 miles from the Earth's surface. Now, according to NASA, low Earth orbit is around 1,200 miles from the Earth's surface. So before I tell you the reasons why it is impossible for us to go beyond the exosphere, or for that matter even past the thermosphere, have a listen to what some NASA experts have to say about this topic.
Yeah, so that shows you Esau would have been incinerated if he got that high. The temperature is too high for the human body, for a vessel, for aircraft. Esau don't have that type of technology, right? So that's another point, that he's a damn lie. He never left the Earth.
As we get further away from Earth, we'll pass through the Van Allen belts, an area of dangerous radiation. Radiation like this could harm the guidance systems, onboard computers, or other electronics on Orion. But Orion has protection. Shielding will be put to the test as the vehicle cuts through the waves of radiation. Sensors aboard will record radiation levels for scientists to study. We must solve these challenges before we send people through this region of space.
Hang on. So what you're saying is that in order to send humans through this region, we need to solve the challenge of getting through the Van Allen radiation belts. But I'm confused. Didn't you already solve this challenge back in 1969 when you sent astronauts to the moon, and subsequently 5 other times after that?
But we're also really pushing the boundaries in terms of where we're going forward with exploration. I think humans are naturally driven to do this, and this is really the beginning, I think, of human beings leaving low Earth orbit. I certainly plan on being around to see that.
So she's a NASA astronaut, but I guess no one bothered to tell her about the first time that we left low Earth orbit. I guess she might be a little too young to remember. Here we have another astronaut that wasn't told about the moon landing 48 years ago.
The plan that NASA has is to build a rocket called SLS, which is a heavy lift rocket. It's something that is much bigger than what we have today, and it will be able to launch the Orion capsule with humans on board, as well as landers or other components to destinations beyond Earth orbit. Right now, we only can fly in Earth orbit. That's the farthest that we can go. And this new system that we're building is going to allow us to go beyond and hopefully take humans into the solar system to explore. So the moon, Mars, asteroids, there's a lot of destinations that we could go to, and we're building these building block components in order to allow us to do that eventually.
There you go. So Esau's ass hasn't been nowhere. All right. This is the book of Obadiah. Obadiah 1 and 6, and it reads, it says, "How are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up?" Shalom.